Good morning. Welcome again to Morning Devotions, and thank you again so much for our time together. I want to talk to you about a little thought today, and the thought is this. Sometimes you just need to sit down and think. What? Yeah, sometimes you need to sit down and think. There's a time to pray, there's a time to work, and sometimes there's a time to just sit down and think. Luke chapter 14, beginning with verse 28. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will he not first sit down and estimate the cost? Now look at verse 31. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Will he not first sit down and consider whether he is able? Sit down. Sit down and think. Sit down and estimate. Sit down and consider. Now sometimes as Christians, especially Pentecostal Christians, sometimes we're so caught up with being led by the Spirit that we think that God didn't give us a brain. Now, Pentecostal charismatics folks, listen to me. God gave you a brain. So let's use our brains. Now, again, sometimes because we're spiritual people and we're led by the Spirit and God speaks to us and we believe in the power of the supernatural, we get all caught up in that realm and we forget one of the most beautiful things God ever did was give us a brain. And He wants us to use it. Now, I want to challenge you today. Don't just pray about things. Sit down and think about things. Don't just get up and start to work. Sit down and think about things. As a young man, some of you are looking around trying to consider which girl to court. Oh, I've been praying and praying and praying. Well, sit down and think about this a little bit. What kind of a girl would really make me happy? What kind of a girl would really complement and supplement my life? Some of you, I just hate my job. I'm going to quit my job. Well, now sit down and think about this for a minute now. Just because you're a little upset right now, does that mean that you need to really do this? Before you act, don't just pray about things. Before you act, learn to sit down and think.